All right, everyone, welcome back. So we have the final round one preview here for the 2024 playoffs. This took me way longer than it should have, and with that, I greatly apologize to Stars fans and Knights fans who have been waiting for this for a long time. But regardless, the Vegas Golden Knights are taking on the Dallas Stars in round one of the playoffs. Dallas is the number one seed in the Western Conference, and they are taking on the lowest seed in the Western Conference, which is the Vegas Golden Knights. So this should be a fun series. We got two teams here. It's a rematch from the 2023 Western Conference Finals. So it's gearing up to be what should be a very entertaining 7-game series here. So let's start off with the Stars. The Stars are currently 52, 21-9 for 113 points. They are second in the NHL. They have a 26, 11-4 record at home, and they are 26, 10-5 on the road. So they've had overall a very good road record and a good home record through the season, and they've just been an awesome team. I mean, not a lot of people really thought they would be second in the league. There were a lot of people that had Colorado. Some of them had Winnipeg over Dallas. But not a lot of people had Dallas winning the division and even winning the conference, too. A lot of people had Edmonton or even Colorado. So Dallas is a bit of a surprise. They have scored 298 goals, have let in 234. They have a 24.2 power play percentage, which is 6th, and they're 82% on the penalty kill, which is 8th. So overall, their special teams are pretty solid. And they have a very good goal differential, which means their goaltending is very solid. When you look at Vegas's end, Vegas's side of things is definitely a little bit different. Vegas with a 45, 29, and 8 record for 98 points. They are 14th in the NHL. They are 27, 12, and 2 at home, and they're 18, 17, and 6 on the road. So above all, the Knights have had also a very good season here as well. There have been some points, though, dealing with injuries and just some poor team play. That does make you a little bit concerned with this team for the future. But with deadline acquisitions, obviously come playoff time, too, Mark Stone has been confirmed to play in Game 1 against Dallas. So that definitely is going to make a lot of people upset. But regardless, it is definitely official. And we'll see where that goes. They've scored 267 goals, let in 245. They have a 20.1 power play percentage, which is ranked 20th. And they have a 79.7 penalty kill percentage, which is ranked 14th. So, in terms of team numbers, they have good stats there. Their special teams is a little bit kind of below average. I was surprised to see the power play is 20th in the league. I figured you would think that with a team as good as Vegas' power play, or with as many, top end talent as Vegas has, you'd think the power play would be a little bit better, but obviously it has not been in this case. But the penalty kill has been very good. There's been some questions with goaltending, which we'll get into in a little bit here. But there's a lot to think about heading into this series with the number one, wild card 1, and the wild card, or the West 1 and the wild card 2. It's interesting because, when you look at the other series, like, you got Washington and the Rangers, like, it's clear cut that people are picking the Rangers. There are people that are picking the Knights and the Stars to win. It's a really split series here. So, in terms of individual scores, you look at Jason Robertson for the Dallas Stars leading the way for them. 82 games played, 29 goals, 51 assists for 80 points. Then you have Jonathan Marchessault on the other side for the Vegas Golden Knights with 82 games played, 42 goals, 27 assists for 69 points. So we'll start out with Robertson. Robertson's had not as good of a year as we've seen in previous seasons. It kind of shows that maybe last year he peaked a little bit, isn't the guy that we really expected him to be this year. And a lot of that could just be, you look at him and he hasn't been, like, it could just be that he overachieved and that this is kind of the realistic Robertson stat line we're going to see from now on, which 80 points isn't a bad thing, but it's kind of surprising there to not see the high scoring we usually see. And then Marchessault has had a good 40-goal season, doesn't score a lot of points like he does. He's not a big point scorer. Vegas kind of plays as a team that's collectively gathered with most of the points, if that makes any sense. But, Marchessault, not like a huge point scorer that's scoring like 100 points a year. He's more of a 70-point guy. Second in scoring is Joe Pavelski for Dallas, with 82 games played, 27 goals, 40 assists for 67 points. And on the other side, you got Jack Eichel with 63 games played, 31 goals, 37 assists for 68 points. So Pavelski Last year was definitely a better year for Pavelski. As you can tell, with the years he's getting older, his production rate's kind of going down a little bit, which makes a lot of sense. But obviously, when you're looking in terms of, how good he's been, he's still been really solid this year, a good 70 points scored, basically. So, good to see stats there from Pavelski. Eichel, he's been injured for some time, so that's obviously why his stats are kind of lower than usual, but still a good 70-point score, playing at a pretty solid rate. Third in scoring is Wyatt Johnston. Johnston with the Stars this season, 82 games played, 32 goals, 33 assists for 65 points. And on the other side, you got William Karlsson with 70 games played, 30 goals, 30 assists for 60 points. So, I've said in videos that I'm really impressed with Wyatt Johnston and how he's played this season. He's kind of really skipped that sophomore slump, which some players really can't do. So it's good to see that Johnston's having a really good year with the Dallas Stars. And on the other side, you got Karlsson, who's been a good 60-point scorer this year, always a consistent center, has a 30-goal season under his belt. So definitely a good year from Karlsson as well. Fourth in scoring, you got Roope Hintz. Hintz with 80 games played, 30 goals, 35 assists for 65 points. Then on the other side, you got Mark Stone. Stone with 56 games played, 16 goals, 37 assists for 53 points. So Roope Hintz has been a solid 65-point scorer again this year. As you can tell with Dallas, they got a lot of guys. They don't have a guy who's specifically leading the way, but you see a lot of guys here who have the same amount of points. Like Duchesne has the same amount of points. Hintz has the same amount of points. Every player seems to be playing at that same rate, which is good, for sure. And then Mark Stone, there's going to be people that complain about the LTIR circulation, and obviously now he's going to play for Game 1. It was announced today, so just bad luck overall for Dallas, but Mark Stone staying in the lineup is a great, hard-working captain for this team. Definitely one of the better ones in the league. Fifth in scoring then is Matt Duchesne. Duchesne was set with 80 games played, 25 goals, 40 assists for 65 points. And then there's got Chandler Stevenson. Stevenson with 75 games played, 16 goals, 35 assists for 51 points with Vegas this year. So Duchesne has been an amazing offseason signing. He's probably one of the best offseason signings from this last year's class. And then Chandler Stevenson, too, is a very solid, underrated first or second line center. He's one of those players that doesn't get looked at a lot, but he's been significant to how Vegas has been good the last couple of years. In terms of deadline players, you got Chris Tanev for Dallas. Tanev's the only guy for Dallas that they acquired. That's of note. But Tanev's been a solid defensive defense, and that was their issue in last year's playoffs, was guys like Ryan Sutter, they aren't capable to bring this team into the playoffs, and getting a guy like Tanev, who's a really good defensive guy and will lay his body on the line for you, is a great acquisition for Dallas. In terms of Vegas, they obviously made a boatload of moves. They acquired Noah Hanifin. Hanifin from Calgary, a good defenseman. They signed him for the next 8 seasons, so he will be here for a while. Tomas Hertl is a good top 6 forward, is going to play in Game 1. He's a guy who I think could score some clutch goals. He has in the past, ironically, against Vegas. And then you got Anthony Mantha. Mantha is a solid depth winger there who will help out in terms of that side of things. So other guys that I think should be mentioned is Dallas's number 1 defenseman, Miro Heiskanen. Heiskanen should definitely get mentioned in conversations as the best defenseman on this team. And then as well as that, Mason Marchment, who has been a player who was good on Florida in the last couple of years, came to Dallas this year and has played very well under the Dallas role. So we'll see if he gets some clutch goals for Dallas in this year's playoffs. On the other end, you got Ivan Barbashev. Barbashev was a acquisition last year from St. Louis in the run to the Cup for Vegas. So we'll see what Barbashev can do here. And then Shea Theodore, too, the number 1 defenseman for this team. Gets underrated a lot, but still notably a really good defender there for Vegas. So in terms of goaltending, moving into the goaltending side of things, you got Jake Ottinger for Dallas. Ottinger with a 35-14-4 record, a 2.72 goals against average, and a .905 save percentage. I think Ottinger's been great this year. His numbers are a little bit worse than usual, but I think his numbers are still pretty solid. It does seem like, though, when I look at a lot of these goalie numbers, the stats seem to be worse than usual. That's kind of the thing I've noticed with this team this year. So, and then on the other end, you got Logan Thompson. Thompson with a 25-14-5 record, a 2.70 and a .908. He has been confirmed to start Game 1 tonight. So overall, it's a really good goaltending matchup between these two goalies. Both have playoff experience. Both have proved to be really solid in the playoffs. I think I'm leaning towards Oettinger, though, when it comes to, comparing him as a goalie. Who I think is going to win this series is interesting because I feel like it can go either way. I really do kind of think that. I feel like this year could be different than last year. Last year, it seemed like Vegas dominated most of the games. Like, they went up 3-1 in the series to go to the Cup final, and then Dallas was playing from behind, essentially, for the entire year. So it was difficult for Dallas to really get a foot under them. But I do think that they're going to be better this year. It's going to be a much closer series. I actually have the Dallas Stars winning in 7 games. So that is my prediction. But, hey, I wouldn't mind seeing Vegas go for a second Stanley Cup in a row. I know there's people that would be very upset with that, but I would not mind seeing that. But I also would like to see Dallas go on a run here because I feel like they're kind of due. They've been in it for a while. They've always been in the talks to get a potential Stanley Cup, but just hasn't come, and hopefully in time they will get there. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe down below. It'd be greatly appreciated. And yeah, I will be streaming this game tonight. So game 1 will be streamed by me on this channel. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.